Hi everybody, welcome to my class of image processing. This is Professor Chang of Bugyeong National University. Today, I'm going to talk about character recognition. These are the contents of today. We are already here, character recognition, and you have already studied many topics in image processing. Okay, today we are going to talk about the handwriting. The handwriting is the activity of writing letters on somewhere. We often use the papers, right? We write something on papers to study or to note. In these days, where we often write letters or notes on our tablet, right? But still, in many cases, we do not have a tablet, so we use the pen or pencils, and we write the characters, letters, notes on the papers. Yeah, you can write the letters on the sands or whiteboard or note and anywhere actually. So, but when you are writing the letters on somewhere, especially writing on something on the papers, it is just write the characters on papers, right? But to recognize the characters in the computers, so it needs to be converted into the data. The data which can be understood by the computer. In the most cases, that data means the image data. So the characters or letters on the papers are converted into the image using the camera or the scanner. The character recognition is the task to automatically recognize a sort of letters from the data. So imagine there are letters like this. These are the Arabic numbers. So when you see this image and you see lots of numbers from 0 to 9, and your brain recognize each characters, each letters are the 0, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and so on. These are the something has been done in your brain, right? So our eyes are getting data from the written form of characters, and our brains are recognizing what the characters are. So these are something happened in our daily lives and in our body, and for the computer, for the AI, will recognize the characters using the algorithms in the computer, CPU or hard disk. Okay. This is something we have. Something happens in the computer, and in these days, maybe you have lots of experience of recognizing characters using AI techniques, using your cell phones, right? So when you are using your cell phone and you just open your Google or something you like, that anything or neighbors or Yahoo's, and there are options to search images or to recognize the characters, and you just took the letters using your cell phone cameras, and then they will find the letters in the image, and the algorithm will recognize automatically what the characters, what the words are in the images. So that is the character recognition. In the character recognition, the data can be divided into two categories. One is the handwritten characters and the other is the printed characters. So recognizing the printed characters is pretty easier than recognizing the handwritten characters. It is same to us, same to the humans. For example, my handwriting is really bad, really bad. So sometimes even I cannot recognize my own characters, handwritten characters. So when I write my handwriting, when I write something on papers, and if I try to recognize my characters using the AI, and the AI has very difficult. It's very difficult to recognize my characters. But in the printed characters, all the characters are clean, and all the characters of the specific letter are always same. For example, there is O here, documentation, O of documentation here, and this O, shape of the O, is always same in the other O, the other O's in the other words. So it's always the same. Maybe they are a little different because of the noise or some errors of the printers, but in the most case, they are almost the same. So it is not very difficult to recognize the characters in the printed characters. So in the research field, the character recognition of the printed characters have been done almost. So there are some specific cases which we have difficulty in the printed character recognition. For example, some kind of a very special type of font, or some is case of degraded, like the printed characters of a very old document, or some printed characters of some water dropped or coffee dropped, and the degraded documents are, the character recognition of the degraded documents are pretty difficult, but in the most common cases, printed character recognition is very easy. And let's think about the handwritten characters. Then recognizing handwritten characters have been studied last decades, and there have been a lot of progresses in this research field. There is another type of data for the character recognition. That is the characters on the tablets. Because in these days, many people are writing letters and writing notes on the tablets. And the data from the scanned images and the data from the tablets are completely different. When you write something on the paper, and when you get the image using the scanner, we call that the offline characters. And the type of the data is the image. And when you are using the tablets to note something, and the data recorded inside of your tablets is the time series data. Time series means the data changes according to the time. So in that case, the XY coordinates of where you write are recorded in the tablets inside. So in that case, we can know the traces of your pen and the order of the strokes, and we have more information than the characters on the image. So we call this data as the online characters. So there are offline characters and online characters. So or online handwriting or offline handwriting. So, but the word, this keyword, online characters or online characters are often used in the research field, but the offline characters are not much used in the research field. Instead of these keywords, we more use the term of OCR, optical based character recognition. So, which means we are using the images. So in this case, second case, the characters written on the tablets are not much related to the images, but it has more information. Well, of course, we can make the image from the recorded data, but because we have more data, more information in this type of data, so we better, in the most cases, to recognize the characters in the tablet, we use the data of the time series data without converting it to the image. Okay, then I want to introduce the applications of the character recognition. There is a research field on the writer verification. Writer verification is to check if the writer is the authentic person or not. So there is a handwriting of someone, and we want to check if this handwriting belong to a person or not. So this is the verification. It has been used for the writer verification is very has been studied in the history, because in the many cases this is very important information. For example, we are studying if a document belong to a famous person or not. We can say that, okay, this document is written by the Abraham Lincoln, and somebody says, oh no, it is not, it is a fake document. So in that case, we need to compare the authentic document and the given document. So we may compare the two documents, and we can check if the document is real or not. That has been studied in our history, in human history, but the automatic writer verification history is not that long, because it is pretty difficult topic. We need to compare features of writing habits of each letters. For example, so there is just assume that this is a person's handwriting, and this one is the other person's. There a document which we do not know the writer. But it is suspected that this document was written by the same person. So in that case, we may compare them word by word, and character by characters, and sentence by sentences, and we compare the features and habits in each document. So this is the writer verification. So we also compare the signatures, because in many cases signatures are used to verify to a person. Signatures are often to verify a person's agreements on something. So we write the document and then we sign at the bottom of the documents, right? Which proves that I read all the things and I approve these things. So, but sometimes some bad guys are trying to forge our signatures as if they are me. Okay, they are the person who are the authentic authorities. So Okay, so let's say this is the original signatures which we know. This is the signature of the Abraham Lincoln, and these two signatures are unknown signatures, and we say that okay, I got a signature of Abraham Lincoln. This is the real. I can say I can argue, and another person also can bring a signature, and this is also the real signature of the Abraham Lincoln. Then we need to compare two signatures. Okay, so we compare the submitted signatures and the proved authentic signature. We compare, and if the both signatures are very similar, and we say this is authentic, and we say okay, they are too much different. It is difficult to say they are the authentic signature. So we say this is the forgery. This job is very difficult actually, because signatures never be the same, isn't it? You do your signature, you do sign when you're writing when you approve something, right? But they never same. They never be same. Always different somehow. Okay. When we sign continuously today and tomorrow and 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you sign the same signature, and it looks almost the same, but they are slightly different. And about the forgery, forged signatures looks really similar to the authentic signatures, because when you forge a signature, then you try to mimic the signature very carefully, so they look very similar, but somehow they are different. So we need to compare the signatures and trying to find all the differences correct, precisely. That the topic of the signature verification in the computer science is to do these things automatically. So it sounds very difficult, right? But in these days, algorithms are getting easier, getting simpler because of the deep learning. Before, we have used many different techniques. We combined this technique, and we combine all together, and we made the correct result. But in these days, the process of the pattern recognition is pretty getting simple because of the deep learning. But because of the time limits, I cannot explain all the algorithms of the character recognitions or signature verification. Maybe the next time I will explain a little bit more. Writer identification is similar to the verification, but it is somehow different. Writer identification is to find the writer among the candidates. So verification was to check if the writer is the person or not. So we already have the guess who the writer is. That is the verification. So, or in the case of signature verification, maybe there is a person, and the person may argue that he is the someone. He is the someone, person A, and maybe Mr. Brown may just let me say. And verification is to verify if the handwriting was written by the Mr. Brown. That is the verification. Identification is a little bit different and more difficult. Identification is to find the writer among the candidates. So we do not know who. We just have the candidates. So there are many candidates, and we need to compare all the handwritings of the candidates to the submitted documents, and then we can guess, and we may know who is the writer. So we need to find the person. So that is the identification. So this is an example of a paper. The source is just written here, and there is a submitted document here, and we need to find who the writer is. There are some candidates, 6 candidates here, and in this case, they calculated the distance between each document and the source document, and the distance was the 1.6397152, and here the distance is 1.5 something, and here 1.58, 1.58, 1.59, 1.59. So here the distance is the first one has the smallest distance, nearest distance. So this algorithm say that okay, the writer of the document, submitted document, is the same to the writer of this first document. So this was the result. So this is the writer verification. So writer verification or signature verification is maybe we can say the writer verification is the simpler form of the writer identification, because in the writer identification we have more candidates and we need to compare more. Okay, and let me explain the methods in general. So I do not want to explain all the details of the methods, but just I want to explain the brief process of the algorithms in the character recognition. So in the character recognition process, we may receive data as in this form. So in this case, I'm just talking about the OCR only, not the characters on the tablet. Here, when we get the image data of the handwriting, and there could be some noises, or it could be corrupted, or when there could be some noises in the scanner or camera lens. So, and for the better processing, for the better result, we need to remove the noise. So we need to remove the noise first, and then the second thing we need to do is the line detection. There are several lines here, so we need to separate each lines. So here, there are many lines in this document, so we need to separate line by line. So we need to separate this line, the second line, and third line. We need to separate, and we may store sub image from the source image. So this is the line detection, and then the next thing we need to do is the words separation. So there are many words, and each words are often easily separated by the detecting the white spaces between the characters. So in this case, all the handwritings was written in the handwritten fonts here. So, but in some cases, even the one single character, there could be a space between the letters. So in that case, there is some spaces here also. There are spaces here, but we can compare the size of the space, and it is not that difficult to get correct to separate the word and find the reason of the word. Okay, and after that we need to try to find the relations between the words. So there could be some habits of the writer, between the letters, between the words. So after some words have, and there could be some habits between the words after the have. So we can search the relations, such relations, and this is where the pattern recognition techniques are necessary. And after that, we can try to find the, we need to find the same words, and then also we can comparisons between the words. So if there is, we can analyze the word two. There is a two here and another two here, another two here. So if we collect all the words of two, then we can compare easily with the other documents. So there could be the same words in the other documents, and then we can easily compare two documents. It is very important because comparing two different words are pretty difficult, because writing skills and writing habits are very different when we write different words. So if it is possible to find the same words between two documents, and then our comparison work is going to be easier. And then in the word segment, we can separate character by characters, letter by letters. We can separate like this. So this is a little difficult job, because in many cases two letters could be combined. So this could be there could be another big task in the Oriental characters. For example, like in the Chinese characters, this is the word of father, and we can compare this word by word. There could be another person may write another characters, and we can compare two characters. But we also can compare stroke by stroke. So if we want to compare in the stroke level, then you need to separate them. So this is not that easy task, but if it is possible to separate the strokes correctly, then we can find the better features to compare two documents, to writers. Then comparison, we can at the last step of this, for this character recognition, we can compare the relations between the characters. So there could be some habits after B and B, or maybe there's some habits between B and R. So there's some habits between the finish point, and we can compare the character by character, like a P and another P here. So this is the general process of the character recognition method. As I told you before, we do not have much time to explain all the character recognition methods in this short video clip. And maybe the next time, in the next video, then I will explain some detail, or I will introduce a couple of papers on the character recognition. Thank you very much, and see you next time.